Hey guys, welcome to episode 22 of Ask Jungle Scout, the show where we answer your top questions on Jungle Scout, product research, and selling on Amazon. This week I'm excited to announce that we're actually adding a brand new segment. I'll be giving you guys my tip of the week based off of our experience to help you guys with your private label journey. This week I wanted to share with you guys a strategy that may help you set up a brand new listing on Amazon without having to fork out for a costly UPC code from GS1 or an expensive trademark when you've just started your business. I know a lot of you guys have been asking us about this, so I wanted to clear it up. So make sure that you tune in to the very end of the video in order to hear that strategy. But first, let's get to this week's questions. Insaf asks, I want to start buying on Amazon and I'm considering one of the two platforms, US versus Europe. Which one to go for given that I live in Morocco? Once an order from a supplier is made, does this supplier send my products directly to the address of Amazon or to only the port? I want to get more insights about logistics from suppliers to my Amazon store because I don't live in the same country where I'll be selling my products. Thanks for the question. So the great thing about selling on Amazon is that you've got an international business. It doesn't matter which country you come from, you can sell on any of the Amazon markets and manage it completely remotely. So it doesn't really matter whether you want to sell in the US or in European markets based off the fact that you live in Morocco. Instead, it'd be a better idea to look into, what product opportunities you can find in either market. In the US, there's a lot more demand for product, there's a lot more sales happening, but in a lot of these European markets, there's also a lot more or less competition in a lot of niches. So there's a lot of opportunities in both of those marketplaces. In terms of logistics, because you're not in the country that you're shipping to, it's probably easiest to send direct from China to Amazon. Now, if you get your supplier to organize the shipping for you, then they will just send it the whole way. Okay, they'll send it direct and you just pay them for that. If you choose to get your own freight forwarder so that you have a bit more control over your shipment, there's a couple of different ways this could play out. Now, it depends on what shipping terms you've organized with your supplier when you made the purchase order. So there's two common ones that you'll hear of, FOB and EXW. So FOB means that your supplier is responsible for shipping your product to the port. And from there, your freight forwarder will pick it up and then they are responsible for then taking it all the way to Amazon. If you have EXW terms with your supplier, then they won't move it from their factory at all. So your freight forwarder will have to come and pick it up from the actual factory and then take it all the way to Amazon. So of course, if you can get FOB terms with your supplier, then that's preferable, but it's always a good idea to check so that you know what your freight forwarder, where they'll have to pick it up from. Vincent asks, in many of your videos, your criteria are the price has $18, the number of sales between 300 and 500, and the number of reviews less than 50 to find a market not too mature. If all this works for the United States, could you guide me a little bit for the French Amazon market? So the main criteria that's going to change when you're looking at markets outside of the US is the sales numbers. Within the US, we say to look for a combined sales amount of 3,000 in the top 10 listings. In these other marketplaces, it's going to be a lot less. So you might only look for 1,000 or 1,000 to 1,500 sales in the top 10 listings combined. You still want low competition, such as less than 50 reviews or even less than 100 reviews. In terms of the price point, I would still look for the equivalent of $18 US or even $15 US, and then find out what the equivalent is in that local currency. Let's say it's pounds or euros. So I'd find out what the equivalent is and I would make about $15 US, still about the minimum price that I would look at. So other than that, all the criteria is pretty much the same. I just wanted to take this opportunity to say though that there are a lot of opportunities in some of these other European marketplaces, and we are going to be coming out with a lot more content in the future to help you guys navigate some of these other marketplaces. So stay tuned for that. Eric asks, under my account I have several brands. Let's say they are brand A, B and C. I'm planning to list one category of products under brand A and B respectively, and I'm planning to create a brand C to sell miscellaneous products. Would you recommend I use brand C to sell those miscellaneous products, or sell those products under the store name if allowed? If I'm allowed to sell products under my store name, am I able to change my store name afterward since I already list products under it? Thanks for the question. So I think you've got a little bit confused between your store name and your brand name. They're two different things and neither of them are really connected, okay? So any of your listings can have a different brand name, and your store name can also be changed if you like, okay? It doesn't matter if you've got a listing that has the same brand name as your store, it's still totally fine to change your store name. In regards to how you've structured your brands, I think that's a great idea. So now that you need a trademark in order to get a particular brand registered under Amazon's Brand Registry, what do you do if you've already got a brand registered, but it's for a very specific market, like it's Lenny's dog products? So I'd feel like I can't really sell any other products underneath that brand, or if I start a new brand, then I'd have to go out and get a new trademark for that particular brand. So what I'd recommend in that situation, if you've already got a brand that's been, brand registered, is very niche specific, what I would do is consider having a second brand. But now with your second brand, you make sure that this one is quite generic and quite broad so that from now on you can sell any products under that second brand, okay? So yes, that may mean that you might have to go out and get another trademark for that particular brand, but that's probably your best bet moving forward. At the same time, if I've got Lenny's dog products branded, but now I want to go out and sell a clipboard that obviously doesn't really fit under that brand name, I probably wouldn't get too hung up on it, okay? If you've already got that brand name brand registered, then you'd probably be fine just putting the clipboard under that brand name. To be honest, most customers probably aren't even going to notice the brand name of the listing that they're looking to purchase. As long as you've got a good listing and a good product, they're probably going to buy it anyway, okay? If they do notice, it might look a little bit strange, but I don't think that would ever stop anyone from buying your product, okay? So there may not be a need to go off and buy a second trademark just to get, another brand registered. But if that does worry you, having the slightly funny name to the product, I would just bite the bullet, go out, get a second trademark for a new brand registry, but this time make sure it's a nice, broad, generic name that you'll be able to sell lots of different products under in the future. The next question is from Carambola. I'm from St. Lucia and I want to start selling private label products on Amazon USA. I'm not a US resident or citizen. I have read in numerous sources that it is a good idea to set up an LLC for this. My question is, do you recommend setting it up before you even start selling your first product? Or do you recommend to first test the waters, and if the product sells well, then form an LLC? Do you need to have a company set up to be able to register in the Amazon Brand Registry? Thanks for the question. Yes, it is a good idea to create an LLC. What it does is just basically provides a bit of a safeguard around you and your personal assets if anything goes wrong in your business. In regards to whether you have to set up an LLC before you start selling, no, you don't have to do this. Myself and many other sellers have all started out just as individuals without any LLCs or any sort of corporations set up. Then once you've got a listing up and you're starting to get sales in, you're getting money coming in, when it makes sense, then go out and form an LLC. I do recommend you do this, but you don't need to do it straight away. Finally, you don't need an LLC to apply for Amazon Brand Registry. Anyone can do this. Spiros asks, if I offer discounted or free coupon codes through Vipon, once the customer has generated this free or discounted sale through Amazon, will I be able to send out an automated email thanking the customer for their purchase and also asking for an honest review, even though the sale was free or at a discount? Would this type of follow-up email requesting an honest review be allowed? I believe it should. And also, would this type of review count as a verified review? Even though it was for a discounted or free product, which was generated through Amazon. So yes, as far as we're aware, it's perfectly fine to send follow-up emails to customers who've bought your product at a discount or as part of a giveaway promotion. The distinction here being that you didn't have any communication with the buyer when you first gave out that coupon code asking them to leave a review. If you're using JumpSend, or I'm sure it's the same with Vipon as well, you don't know who it is that's buying your products when you give out the coupon codes. It's kind of, it's almost random, okay? You don't know who the buyers are, you're giving out these coupon codes and then people go out and purchase them, okay? So it's then perfectly fine to follow up with an email campaign because you're doing that with all of your customers. So yes, that's perfectly fine to do that as long as you haven't contacted them at the start asking for a review in exchange for the discount. So that's all of today's questions. So let me share with you the tip of the week. What I want to share with you today is how to go about applying for a GTIN exemption. Why would you want one of these? Well, currently to set up a listing on Amazon, you're required to input a UPC barcode. Now previously you could just get that from a third party like Speedy Barcodes and it would be really, really cheap. You could buy a whole heap of them for like a few dollars. However, Amazon came out a little while back and basically said that they wouldn't accept these third party UPC codes, and essentially you'd have to purchase it direct from GS1. Now, if you purchase through GS1, it's quite a lot more expensive and there's a renewal fee each year. There are in fact two ways to get around this. The first one is with Amazon Brand Registry. So if you get accepted into Amazon Brand Registry, you can then ask Amazon to change the unique identifier on your listing. In other words, you can sort of detach that UPC code and change it to another identifier, like a model number or something, okay? So what you could do in this strategy is go out and use one of these third-party UPC codes that Amazon says that they don't really allow. Use that just to set up your listing because you do need to input a UPC code when you set up your listing. And then once your listing is set up, apply for brand registry. This does require getting a trademark, so I would apply for a trademark. As soon as you get that, apply for brand registry. As soon as you're accepted, then ask them to essentially remove that UPC code. So what does this mean? It means that you will go for a bit of time using this third-party UPC code on your listing. That's what we've done on a number of our listings and it's been perfectly fine. I don't personally know of anyone that's had their listing taken down or their account suspended from using a third-party UPC code. So really, it's just a temporary measure while you're waiting for a trademark or waiting for your brand registry application to be accepted. So that is one thing you can do. We feel like it would probably be fine, but please be warned, you are taking a risk. As I said, I don't know of anyone that's ever got pinged for this, but it is a risk. So you just need to decide how comfortable you feel with that option. If you aren't comfortable with that option, there is one more thing you can do. And that's what I wanted to talk about today, is applying for a GTIN exemption. So before you create your listing, you can apply for an exemption so that you don't have to input a UPC code at all. Okay, so there are some categories that Amazon won't allow you to apply for an exemption in. These are the categories that Amazon will allow you to apply for an exemption. So if you're wanting to sell in one of these categories, then you can apply for an exemption and potentially not have to get a UPC code at all or have to go to GS1 to get an expensive one. What Amazon requires from you in order to apply is a support letter from the brand owner or the manufacturer of the product. The good news is that's you. You're the brand owner and the manufacturer. The other thing that Amazon asks for is a website with the products. So you can just create a very simple website that shows your products. Send those into Amazon and then they will process your exemption. Now, I don't know how successful this is. However, it is another alternative if you don't want to go out and purchase an expensive UPC code from GS1, or if you don't want to take the risk of using a third-party one until you get brand registered. There is that third option. So if you're in one of those categories that allows exemptions, definitely try it out. So I hope that clears up the different options that you have in order to get your listing created. So if this is what's been holding you back from getting started, then there's no reason now not to start your Amazon business. Of course, before you list your product, you need to find a profitable one, as that is the basis of any successful Amazon business. If you haven't found a product yet, we've actually put together a 10-step guide on how to find a profitable product. If you want to check it out, head to this link here to get your free ebook. In it, you're going to find out which categories to start out in, which price range for your first product, and things like how to do competitor research. And of course, now I've shown you how to get your listing set up and created on Amazon. So make sure you click that link to get your free guide. So I hope you've enjoyed today's episode. As always, if you want your question answered on another episode, make sure you drop that in the comment section below this video. Have a fantastic week, and I'll see you guys next time.